I am Shelby Lee Kyles, as you already know. First off, I'd like to thank you all who viewed my shows, UUPN, Moral High Ground, and my little movie reviews. I like to thank all those who have subscribed, and hopefully I can get 1,000 subscribers one of these days. I don't know, but I'm going to keep making footage and see what happens. Anyway, I want to talk about my mental monologue. It's actually one of the first shows I created on this channel, and it's informative and funny at the same time, and that's what I intended. A little bit of humor with a lot of knowledge. And I had took on a co-host after a while named Chris Candlin on the show, or aka Chris Candlin, which is really Christian Candlin Hackula. He died during the summer, committed suicide. And since then I've been took me a long time to want to try to get back to editing and creating the show again. And Chris and I had a little falling out because he started to become irrational. He suffered from domestic abuse and also his own little personal demons. This isn't the first time I dealt with a friend of mine who committed suicide. I had a friend whose brother, I won't say names, committed suicide back in the early 2000s. Back then I had another business venture, and he was coming and trying to be a part of it. And one day he disappeared for a while and ended up doing the unthinkable. When it comes to this, it's been hard for me to want to edit. And I've had many shows me and Chris did that I haven't edited or decided to put on the channel. And just recently, I think I can deal with it a little bit better now and go ahead and put them on the channel. Chris had a lot of potential. He was wise on a lot of different things. Well, knowledgeable. But a lot of life experiences he had problems with, and in time things change, your personality change, you start to do different things, and it's a shame that he'll never be able to experience that and actually know how it feels to live life to the fullest. But with that being said, I want to eliminate this suicide demon. I want to make sure that no one comes near the thought of suicide. I want you, my viewers, if you find a friend that you feel that is suicidal, talks to you about suicide, or says they want to end their life, I need you to call this number, this hotline, and get them some help. That's the first thing. The second thing is, no matter what goes on in your life with your friends, I want you to understand, just be their friend. Be close to them, help them, guide them, be a friendly ear, and try to support them. You never know how much you might mean to someone else. Even if they don't mean that much to you, just be that loyal friend and never give up on them. Always be the voice of reason. And a lot of people told me stuff ain't my fault, but the kid was like a nephew in a way. Come by and annoy me when I'm drunk and have random conversations about things I don't care about. But it led to my mental monologue. So, but like I said, he's a good guy, good potential that went down the wrong path. And we started to unravel in some of these episodes. So when you hear things that's crazy, that's what was going on, which ultimately separated us, and then why I wasn't talking to him when the incident occurred. But like I said, he also suffered from some form of domestic violence. So once again, if you know anybody who's dealing with domestic violence, a child, a woman, whatnot, call this number, this hotline, and try to get them some help. Reach out, try to lend a helping hand. Ultimately, these episodes that I'm going to play are the last of my mental monologue, unless I can find someone that's willing to work with me. But I want you all to know I appreciate all of you guys. The episode that got the most views this year was actually the first episode me and Chris Candlin did, which was gun control and gun safety, which actually has a hidden message, I guess, to his suicide. I don't know. When I listen to it, it's hard for me to listen to now, but it's still on my channel. And I'm not going to take it out because I feel that this legacy of, pretty much everything he did with me on the show is his legacy. And when we had his little Irish wake, there was tons of people who were fans of the show, and he didn't know. We both didn't know because we're like, clueless. But it was like, I'm Merlin, he's Arthur, I was training him to be the king, but it didn't happen. So, my thing is this. More important than just watching and listening, try to reach out and see any of your friends or close family members that truly need help and always be there for them. I know it's not the thing nowadays to try to be the nice guy or the helpful person because, everybody wants to act like they're independent and tough person. But someone's got to look out for those that are weaker or not feeling safe or unhappy. Someone's got to stand up for what's right and for those that they truly care about. Fight the good fight. And if you want to do that, try to reach out to people you love and try to get help. So get these contacts and reach out and help people. With that also being said, please subscribe, like, share, notifications. And if you want to, I don't know, my editing sucks. And go and check out my music on Spotify, here on YouTube. It's Big Black African, Get Away from Mayberry Hills, first album. Big Black African, Respect Knuckles, Big Black African, Serial Madness, and Big Black African, Asian Thug, Turn Them Shits Up, as well as Cracking Pavement, which is not on YouTube, which I don't understand why it's blacklisted off of YouTube. But you can also listen to them all on Spotify, as well as my podcast, Moral High Ground, which I started right after the death of Chris Kendall. So, with that being said, I bring you one of the first and last, well, not last, but one of the first of the last episodes of my mental monologue. Peace be with you. Catch you later. Hi, and welcome to my mental monologue. I am your host, the great Shelby Lee Kyles. Along with me is the mysterious man dressed in cowboy gear.
That's right, Chris Candle in there.
Today we're going to be talking about border hypocrisies. I can't even speak. Say it, man.
Border hypocrisies.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to talk about.
And in a nutshell, really just the differences in how the past administration and the current administration have handled the quote-unquote difficulties at the border.
Not so much as the difficulties at the border, the overwhelming swarm of people running to the border lately, and then it's like the fact that they're swarming to the border proves that there's some kind of issue going down south, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's just more than obvious that if America's helping everybody, and this is the problem I have with this thing, and I thought about, since I've seen it on the news, and yeah, we're behind once again. But the thing is this. We run to everybody's aid in everybody's country to go fight a war. Now, these people, their own country to our country. No one wants to go down there and investigate why they're running, what's all the issues happening in their towns.
We don't need to investigate. We know exactly what's going on in those countries. We just don't care.
But that's the point of what I'm talking about. Well, remember our previous episode about unifying America. If we're going to do this, unify Americas.
The American continent.
Yes, if we're going to unify any damn thing, we need to go down there and investigate and help these people out. Figure out why they, there are such desire to come up here and why, they can't fight this terror themselves and help them fight that terror. and
Well,
eliminate it.
I think one of the
Because
major
there's too many lovely Latin Hispanic hotties, you know what I'm saying, that need to be protected.
Well,
Okay.
the problem is not the people trying to escape their situation in South America. It really is not. Those are the people we want in this country.
Yes, we want all the Latin women in this country.
The problem is the miscreants of the South American society that take advantage of our generosity in taking people who have been displaced due to violence in their own country, because you find a lot of people that take advantage of our immigration program to smuggle drugs and traffic humans across border lines, because so many of the people who come across borders are either taking people who are not related to them, who are somewhat indentured to them, children that don't belong to them. There is so much room for danger amongst the people who are illegally crossing the U.S. border. The effort to keep immigration from really to keep illegal immigration from happening is not due to the fact that people want a totally racially segregated society. It's the people who truly want a lot of immigration control realize that the only way to keep a lot of these people safe is to control how people enter this country, so we can be sure that people aren't trafficking illicit drugs or humans through our borders.
Well, I mean, I understand that, and I agree with that in some ways. And there was this one woman. She had a documentary. I forget what show it was, but she got kidnapped when she was 15, and they brought her across the border, and they were able to hide her so well that when she got over, she was like pretty much a whore in Texas. You know, like people go in and just have sex with her. She had gave birth to 3 kids, and they took the kids away from her. We took kids away from her, continued to make her have sex with men for money and stuff, till I forget how she escaped and made it to New York or something. Ended up on like one of them crazy talk shows. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is, it's sad that the whole thing with that woman was sad. I watched and I was like, damn, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? They stole this woman's childhood. They forced her to, do all these things. And the thing that's dangerous about a woman that's young, especially women, period, when they're oversexed or whatnot. You know what I mean? It's different than with a man. We just do it and it's over. Whatever. You know what I mean? There's emotional attachments. It's more overwhelming the sexual desire. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot harder for women to stop doing these things. That's why there's so many women that stay in the prostitution for so long.
In that situation and thousands of other situations that are totally similar to it could be easily prevented by having stricter immigration border control.
It's just the fact, well, and then the thing you were saying about the kid thing too, is like they bring the wrong children over. Some people have kidnapped kids and brought them and claimed that they were their kids, and then they were able to live a life in America with kids that weren't their own.
With the kids too, man, this is the crazy part with the kids. So during the last presidential administration, due to the increased efforts to reduce illegal immigration, we saw a massive downturn in the amount of unclaimed children in migrant facilities.
Now, what's now?
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
And with the current administration and their acceptance of illegal immigration, we have seen a massive uptick, a totally disproportionate uptick in the amount of unaccounted for, undocumented children entering this country from Mexico. So, in the same situation where it was called children in cages with the prior administration, it is now totally not even talked about. And then too so like we look at Texas, where they're not allowing journalists and other news entities to even enter these facilities where they're housing undocumented migrants, in order to see truly how overcapacity it is and how bad the conditions are in there. I mean, it took Ted Cruz, who is I believe the senator of Texas, to get in there. It took a state senator, which is one of the highest positions you can hold in a state's government, to enter this facility. That's completely outrageous. We cannot allow the government to withhold this type of information to only the highest levels of state government.
Well, they showed a news thing the other day, and they showed what it looked like in there. And there was like multiple mats and things. The kids had to sit in this, like, how they make those little kid fences that try to keep the kids in. And they had some little whole thing of a kid fence around these mats, and the kids got to stay within those mats and the fence. And the people were telling them they had to get out of there. They had no reason to be there and stuff. Like, they were trying not to let people see these kids in a certain way they were, portrayed. But at the same time, what do you call that when, the parents come over here with the kid, you know what I mean? The kid's not born American, but they stay as dreamers, right? Or something like that.
Dreamer, I think.
Or is it DACA or something like that?
DACA and Dreamer, it's all kind of trying to. And I do actually kind of agree with some of these ideals where you have people who were, when their parents illegally immigrated, they were
children,
babies. They had no real choice in it, and they grew up in America speaking English, and for all intensive purposes, they are American citizens just like you and I. Yeah. And that I feel is actually one of the better, just it's one of those rare occasions where just simply letting people who are not technically state citizens or federal citizens just automatic citizenship, because for all intensive purposes, they are American citizens. They grew up here. They speak our language. They culturally are American.
Well, I disagree in a way, because I have to say this is just that if someone stayed from Mexico 30, 40 years ago, hell, even 10, 20 years ago, they shouldn't be sitting back because they fucking crossed the border, illegally, especially if they became a good, citizen to help, the community, or got a business in the community. They should be considered American because they've been here long enough. And I've worked in places where there's lots of Latina or Hispanic people, you know what I mean? And they're all right. They're good folks, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to working. They do their thing, you know what I mean? Like we all do, But the thing I think about it is just that it seems wrong that you're robbing them, somebody that's been here for years. Of just imagine one day you woke up and they said, okay, you're not American, you got to go to this place. That's kind of fucked up, you know what I mean?
Well, but also imagine how the people who spent years...
Our economy needs them.
Well, our economy might need them, but just imagine how the people who spent years legally immigrating and having to go through that entire process feel when they see someone who simply walked across the border, in some cases get more leniency
than a regular American.
Well, more leniency than a person who went through all of the trials and tribulations to naturalize as an American.
Oh, you mean to get a green card and whatnot and become American?
Yeah, to get a green card, and then you have to spend a certain number of years naturalizing, which is upwards of 14 for depending on where you're from, I believe, and so it really, I guess, comes down to the question of how do we take the current requirements to become a U.S. citizen and reduce those to a level that it's not taking a massive proportion of your actual lifetime to naturalize into a U.S. citizen, but also keeping it strict enough that we are not, because I'm sorry, as an American, I don't want to let people into this country if they have charges. If you are a felon in Mexico, I'm sorry, I don't want you immigrating to the United States.
Well, I have to say with that, it depends on
the crime.
Well, not even that, okay, because here in America, I believe what they do to prisoners are wrong already. You know what I mean? You got people who go to prison and they serve their time. Some people are harshly, or should I say unjustly, incarcerated. And so these people have to try to come back to society and fucking work their way in. Now, the whole thing that's fucked up is the jobs. You go looking for jobs. As soon as someone asks you, especially if you're a person of color, oh, have you been incarcerated? Oh, well, we can't hire you. Fuck that shit. I served my time. We did our time. let's get her job back. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to people that's foreign and they're incarcerated, the only way I can quite agree with you there is because we don't know what the fuck the laws are like in their country. We don't know what they did in their country, and we don't need something new popping up in our country.
Or okay, how about this then? How about this? We relax heavily on the actual requirements for immigration and naturalization, but if let's say you are an immigrant in the process of naturalization and you get like a DUI, or you are convicted of a violent offense, that should be a deportable offense, which results in you not being eligible anymore for immigration status. So think of it this way: we gave you the opportunity to come to this country, follow our laws, and spend a certain number of years here following those laws to naturalize into a U.S. citizen. If you, within that time period, break a certain statute of a certain veracity, upwards, some sort of violent crime or a very dangerous crime like DUI or something akin to that, you should then be deported, and your possibility of immigration status being revoked for either indefinitely or a standardized period of time.
Well, I mean, the laws. Okay, here's what I believe. Okay, this is just something I know. Okay, here in Oregon, like people who come from Mexico who are not legal citizens, the crimes they usually commit, believe it or not, are child molestation crimes. And the reason why that is, half of it you already should know. What's it called? A quinceanera.
Quinceanera.
Yeah, the girl is 15. She becomes a woman. So in America, you know what I'm saying, we got the laws of, a woman ain't a woman until she's 18 or 21.
Well, depending on your state, if there are Romeo and Juliet laws 16, in place.
In some places.
No. Okay, so what it is, in some places, if you are... so let's say there are two people who are under the age of 18. Mm-hmm. They're in a relationship. One of the people in the relationship turns 18. If there is a prior relationship established, Romeo and Juliet laws will take place, and that person cannot be charged for, sex crimes against a minor. Now, Romeo and Juliet laws do not apply to every U.S. state. Yeah. Oregon, the state we live in, does not have any Romeo and Juliet laws. I've looked heavily into this. And which meaning, if you were, let's say, you and your girlfriend, you're both 17. You turn 18 before she does. Let's say her mom doesn't like you. If she,
you're gonna say you molested her.
Yes. Daughter. And that's where Romeo and Juliet laws really apply. It's really only for the 16 to 20 age range, where you get that overlap of actual legal adult status in the United States and minor status in the United States.
Well, see, I think that shit's wrong. And I'll say why, because I remember, the teens and the 20s, okay? So in that whole period, I was an idiot because I was still a kid. I don't give a damn if you're 20 years old, you think you're grown up, you're still a fucking kid. Because you think like a kid, you were just fucking 20 years of being a kid. You've never been a man or a woman, so you don't really understand woman manhood and stuff that you still think is still remind you of kid stuff. Like, well, maybe I should go to the arcade or you know what, that's a cool toy, I like it, or whatever.
You still think like that?
That's different. I was a party animal, so I still think about partying and shit. And then when I get stoned, I like to watch animations and shit and play video games. That doesn't matter. Look, the point is, what I'm saying is this: I'm more mature than that. But the whole thing is this, okay? What I'm trying to say is this: when kids and people in their early 20s or whatever should not be fucking. Well, let's play as teenagers and people in their early 20s should not be fucking. A law between them. Just go on and let them do their thing. Kids are having more sex than grown-ups are. Let's just be real.
That's always been the case, I feel like.
Right. So it's like, if there's going to be some kind of crime against a kid and a person that's an adult, anyone that's in, I'll say from 25 and up, you know what I'm saying? Those are the people who should be penalized, because you never know. Because there's probably a guy who was a friend with a kid or girl or whatever, and she was like 2 years younger than him, and they probably still talk when that person went to college. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really judge them on
back to the whole immigration thing. That's one of the hugest issues of illegal immigration into the United States from South American countries is the trafficking of humans, especially minors, amongst these people. And that's my main drive for wanting this regulated, because I am tired of seeing children being taken advantage of by people illegally being in our country.
Just sickos.
Yeah, sick people.
Just perverts and shit, okay?
Yeah.
Just people who want to molest kids, use them in black magic, whatever the fuck, okay?
But specifically regarding that, towards the immigration problem we have currently, if we were to lock down harder on our border and secure it further, we can cut down on this human trafficking by innumerable amounts, and we can save hundreds of thousands of children from a life of sexual servitude and even further horrors that I myself can't bring myself to imagine.
And I don't think like a child. My point is saying someone who is a child-like person that just became a grown-up. They still have friends that are children, so they literally are still a child. You know what I'm saying? It's like, let me give an example. Like that Playmate Tessie chick. She's 18, and all she talks about is like kid shit. Like going to Disney and candy and shit. That's kid shit. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you're not, just because the age tells you that you're an adult doesn't mean you literally are. And a person that's old enough should be like, okay, that person's young. Like me personally, I don't go after young women because they're stupid. Not saying that all
no, you just respect the wisdom that comes with age.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean? It's just I want someone I can relate to. I can't relate to a girl who's gonna talk about SpongeBob and I've never fucking seen SpongeBob. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? When I'm talking about Guns N' Roses or fucking some shit from like TLC or something, they don't know who the hell they are.
Well, no, you have a normal brain. You're attracted to people the same age as you. The people who are attracted to those younger than them by a vast amount are simply ill in the head.
It's like I was in Safeway the other day and this guy goes, ooh, to this girl and stuff. And from behind, I'm thinking, okay, is that a woman? And then I get across from her, that's like a girl, like fucking 14, man. That's crazy. But what I'm saying is I'm trying to express, the point I'm trying to get at is this, okay? The majority of people that come up here, they're not, yeah, you got those that are coming up here selling drugs or bringing meth or whatever the fuck from the other place. That's one of the main issues that come from down south. But the other serious issue is the sex trafficking issue. And so that's what I'm getting at here. And the sex trafficking issue isn't really just old women or women that's elder. Because think about it. If you a person that's been with a Latin woman or Hispanic woman, and you know how hot and fiery they are, and they like to fight. Because to be honest with you, Asian women, Mexican women, they're a lot more like black women. They get this attitude, but then they get, like Asian women get really sweet, and Mexican women get really good-hearted, but at the same time, they like to fight. It's part of their culture. They like to be, hey, they like challenge you. They want to be, a man to be aggressive, you know what I mean? So that's why they do it. So the point is, what I'm saying is this, is that fucking, with that being said, ain't nobody kidnapping a woman that's aggressive and violent and stuff. They're trying to kidnap these little girls. And that needs to stop. So that's the problem I have over the border, because I don't want the future generation of these Hispanic and Latin women to be, mentally disturbed, or traumatized by a lifestyle of pedophiles that are bringing across the border and selling them to perverted men. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, it's also the same thing with China and women coming over in containers, and not just them, the women from Afghanistan that come over, and there's so many of them.
Ultimately, what it sounds like you're getting at is that sex trafficking is the worst evil in the world.
Not so much the worst evil in the world,
but at least
when it comes to our United States of America,
it's really bad
sex trafficking gets used in a way to where men look bad. You know what I'm saying? And
it is a problem.
It makes the
hugely,
feminist movement more stronger in their bullshit and so on and so on.
Well, I don't think a lot of, because like a lot of people, if you look at like the world at large's impression of America, they see us as like a fat, stupid people who shoot each other up all the time. You know, school gets shot up every day. When really, pardon me, when really the biggest problem facing our nation today is probably the amount of illegal sex trafficking that goes on and institutional sex trafficking that goes on.
I just think that,
and that's all I got to say.
This is what I got to say, and I'm going to end it, okay? I'm just saying that, going back to what I said earlier, okay, the people ran to the United States. Now, they ran, yes, we know what goes on down there, but maybe we don't know. Maybe the chupacabra done mutated into a giant fucking Sasquatch, okay? We don't know. Somebody got to go down there and make sure the predator ain't there and bring Arnold Schwarzenegger with them, okay? So I'm just saying, America plays 911 to the rest of the world. They act like they care. They have a heart for places where there's natural resources, but they're not trying to go down to the place where people are literally fleeing to America for asylum. So I believe that we need to strike together a couple troops. Hell, just not even a lot. We don't need a fucking 1,000. We don't need fucking 800. Just send like 200 fucking troops down and let them go through these countries, through South America, 50, break them off into groups of 50. So 4 troops running around, 4 teams, I should say, in different areas, going through South America and Mexico, eliminating the terror. That way people won't have to leave those countries and flee. Then they can unify, like you said, unifying America.
I guess just to simply play devil's advocate in this situation, isn't that exactly how we got into Vietnam? It started with, well, we'll just send a couple of advisors. Well, we'll just send a couple of 100 ground troops. And then next thing you know, several 100,000 U.S. troops have died in a foreign nation fighting a war that nobody agrees with.
Okay, but here's the thing.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just simply playing devil's advocate.
I know you're not disagreeing. I'm not, look, just let me say the thing. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying something. Here's my thing. I'm saying that people know Mexico and shit because they a lot of people try to come down at fucking parties or whatever the fuck. So half the time it's always the people that family done sent them to Mexico. So it's like the troops that come are usually like people who came to party before, so they know Mexico. But what I'm saying is what the fuck happened in Vietnam, okay? Motherfuckers didn't know shit about Vietnam. Motherfuckers thought all Chinese people were all Asians. Okay? Anything Asian was Chinese. So they didn't know what the fuck Vietnam was. They literally went down to Vietnam and got massacred. My uncle used to get drunk all the time. So in that situation, yeah, they went into, blinded with a fucking M16 that fucking jammed or whatever the fuck, if I remember right.
Misdemeanor. That's not true.
Well, what the fuck was a gun that jammed in the fucking...
I mean, the M16, yes, that jammed a lot, but do you know how long the M16 was in service in Vietnam? 1.5 years. The M16A1, the improvement after that, which was much more reliable, 30, was in service through the entirety of Vietnam.
Well, regardless, nice gun knowledge, but the point I was trying to make is America didn't know shit about Vietnam.
No, I will agree with you on that because we really didn't know very much about... I mean, American soldiers going into Vietnam were told, you are here to save the world from communism, and that's it. They weren't given any of the diverse history of the Vietnamese people, their struggle against the Chinese empires, and the French, and then ultimately us, and their ability to preserve and fight through all of that despite being armed with nothing but their wits and luck and duct tape type deal,
So the only thing I'm saying is this, and I'm going to end it, I'm just saying that, people of America know about Mexico. They know about South America. They go on vacations, these spots. Why go to a place we don't know, like Vietnam or something like that, and try to help people when we just need to help the people we already know and try to support by our tourism and other ways of currency.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we bolster, like I said in our unifying the American continent video, if we bolster, or not, I don't know if I said it in that video, but if we were to bolster those countries into a very safe place to visit, we could do the equivalent of how Europeans do vacation, because when you are let's say you just live in England, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a single day, you could visit the country of Germany, France, fucking so many. There are countries you drive to within a day. In the United States, I can't drive from one state to another in a day.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if you could do a extra national vacation all in your car. That would totally it would reinvent what Americans think about holidays, because in the American mind, you have two types of holidays. You go and check out another state. You can drive there, you fly there. You fly from California to DC to check out the Washington Monument and shit like that. But it's not like you can go to Canada or you can go to Mexico. That's it for us when it comes to extra national vacations in the car. If we were to open up the rest of it, or not even open up, if we were to simply get these South American countries to the same economic and social levels as ourselves, we could expand our own range to new heights that we thought unimaginable up to this point.
Yes. So with that being said, hopefully we made sense. A lot of chaotic stuff, but we're trying, people. Hopefully we educated you a little bit too. So peace be with you all. Blessings upon you.
If you liked our video, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment, either telling us off, telling what you liked, or leaving us a suggestion for our next video.
Yes. And have a blessed day.
Peace be with you all.